Cybertruck faces. Global meltdown. Too futuristic or too dangerous? In just a few months, nearly 7,000 Cybertrucks have been recalled. A wave of rejection is sweeping across nations, turning away a vehicle once hailed as the symbol of the future. Why the harsh backlash? Keep watching. If you don't want to miss what's unfolding behind that stainless steel armor, the crisis begins at home. The United States right in its home market, Tesla was forced to recall nearly every Cybertruck delivered. The reason? Stainless steel trim panels, attached only with adhesive instead of bolts, can fly off while driving. At an acceleration of 0 to 60 miles per hour, in just 2.6 seconds, a loose panel becomes a high-speed projectile. The issue isn't just technical, it's a choice. Simplify production or guarantee safety. Tesla went with glue. The result? A massive recall. The United Kingdom, when law clashes with design. In January 2025, a Cybertruck was impounded on the street by Greater Manchester Police. Why? Lack of a certificate of conformity. UK law requires all vehicle edges to be rounded to at least 3.2 millimeters to reduce pedestrian injury risk. But the Cybertruck, its sharp, razor-like exterior is unacceptable in densely populated urban areas. And then there's the sheer size, over 2.2 meters wide and nearly 3.2 tons in weight. Drivers must hold a Category C1 license, the same as for small trucks.
On the campaign,
so here's the question.
The President spoke about
Is a futuristic vehicle being suffocated by outdated regulations? Or is its design simply too extreme for urban life? Ireland. No space for giants. In Ireland, the Cybertruck faced obstacles the moment it hit the road. The country is filled with narrow, winding streets, making it feel like you're forcing a shipping container into a bike lane. And it gets trickier. Under Irish law, a standard Category B license only allows drivers to operate vehicles up to 3.5 tons. The Cybertruck flirts dangerously close to that limit. Add cargo, equipment, or even a full Irish breakfast, and you could find yourself over the legal threshold. Worse still, concerns over stuck accelerator pedals, which triggered a recall in 2024, raise further doubts. So is the Cybertruck really built for complex European road systems? Australia? Rejected for being too safe? In Australia, the Cybertruck was denied approval from the start. It sounds ironic, but the problem is that it's too rigid. Its ultra-tough steel exoskeleton doesn't absorb impact energy during a crash. Instead of crumpling, it transfers the full force back to whatever it hits. In a country with abundant wildlife, kangaroos, wombats, that makes the Cybertruck a road hazard. Then there's the right-hand drive issue. Australia mandates it, but Tesla's Texas factory only produces left-hand drive models. Rebuilding the production line? Too expensive. And in the outback, where Tesla envisions adventure, the charging infrastructure is almost non-existent. Run out of battery in the middle of nowhere? Congratulations. You now own the world's most expensive metal tent. China. Not banned, but virtually unviable. Cybertruck isn't officially banned in China, but the odds of seeing one on the road? Close to zero. Its sharp, angular design violates strict pedestrian safety rules. Either way, Cybertruck has never launched in the world's largest EV market. Keep watching. If you don't want to miss the unprecedented clash between bold design and global regulations. Elon Musk was abruptly cut off by Fox News, right in the middle of his speech at CPAC. Once a national icon with a +24 approval rating in 2017, Musk has now plummeted to -19 in 2025. And this is just the beginning of a ripple effect now reshaping his public image, faster than anyone expected.
Chainsaw for bureaucracy! Chainsaw!
At the 2025 CPAC conference, Elon Musk took the stage, holding a chainsaw. Yes, a real one. He used it to symbolize cutting down the bloated federal government. He criticized federal workers earning $50,000 a year, accusing them of being ineffective, underpaid, and still unable to afford health insurance or housing.
Sitting on stage at CPAC with a chainsaw, making fun of firing federal workers who make $50,000 a year.
Musk then claimed he's received death threats because he's trying to do what's right for American taxpayers. But just over 6 minutes into his speech, Fox News suddenly cut the live feed while Elon was still speaking. A shocking move, coming from a network that has traditionally supported both Musk and conservative politics. Days later, Musk returned in a cabinet meeting with Donald Trump, this time as a policy advisor. He announced what he called a success, uncovering financial fraud in the Small Business Administration. His claim? We discovered $330 million in loans issued to children under 11 years old. One of them was a 9-month-old baby who received $100,000. No evidence was presented, but the narrative helped reinforce Musk's image as a government wastebuster. According to a CNN poll, Musk's approval rating has collapsed from plus 24 in 2017 to minus 19 in early 2025. Among Democrats, from plus 35 to minus 91, a drop of over 120 points. Independents flipped from plus 17 to minus 17. Only Republicans showed growth, from plus 18 to plus 51. But that wasn't enough to rescue his national image.
Change of perception as dramatic as this one. I mean, Elon Musk's net favorable.
And the damage wasn't just political. Tesla's U.S. sales dropped significantly. In 2024, registrations fell 5%. By the first quarter of 2025, another 11% decline. Meanwhile, Hyundai, Rivian, and Ford posted strong growth. The key problem? Only 20% of EV buyers in America are Republicans. By aligning himself with partisan politics, Elon is losing the broader market that once admired him as a non-political tech visionary. Then came a new controversy. Musk posted on X, $50 million worth of condoms were sent to Hamas. The claim was quickly debunked. The shipment actually went to Mozambique as part of an HIV prevention initiative. When questioned, Musk responded,
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000.
In the same cabinet meeting, Musk proposed a controversial budget cap for the National Institutes of Health. He wanted to limit indirect costs to 15%, saying NIH's overhead was too high. But NIH responded with data. Every $1 in funding creates $2.46 in economic benefit. The NIH contributes $93 billion a year to the U.S. economy.
Katie Britt, the senator from Alabama, had to go out there and say, no, don't take our NIH dollars.
Even Senator Katie Britt, once an ally of Musk, spoke out. Don't gut the NIH's budget. If we trade it away, we're sacrificing the future of medical research in America. So what's really happening with Elon Musk? This isn't just a personal downfall. It's a full-blown stress test for how far technology leaders can push into public policy, and where we, as a society, draw the line between entrepreneurial ambition and political power. Because what's happening to Elon Musk might just be a preview of what's coming next.
The U.S. stock market is plummeting, with the Dow Jones dropping 850 points and the Nasdaq down 3.1%. Trump's tariff policies face heavy criticism. Even Fox News has turned against him. Could this be a sign that a recession is coming? On March 15th, as the stock market took a nosedive, Donald Trump appeared in an interview, proudly boasting about his latest purchase, a brand new Tesla. I'll have it at the White House. I'll let my staff use it. I love driving, but I'm not allowed to. While Trump was excited about his car, the U.S. economy was facing serious instability. The Dow Jones dropped more than 850 points, marking one of the worst trading sessions of 2025. The S&P 500 fell by 2.3%, affecting millions of Americans' retirement accounts and investments. The 10-year U.S. Treasury bond yield rose to 4.9%, signaling growing recession fears. As billions of dollars vanished from the stock market, Trump remained focused on his personal luxury. Trump continued to defend his tariff policies, claiming they would bring jobs back to America. But the market reacted differently. The Nasdaq fell by 3.1%, with tech stocks taking a massive hit due to rising import costs. Major companies like Apple and Tesla saw their stock values drop by 5.6% and 4.8%, respectively, as concerns over supply chain costs escalated. Retail giant Walmart warned the tariffs would lead to price hikes, directly impacting American consumers. Even Fox News couldn't ignore the damage. One of its reporters bluntly stated, "These policies are throwing the market into chaos and putting the U.S. at risk of a recession." At a White House press conference, Trump's spokeswoman, Carolyn Leavitt, tried to defend the tariffs, claiming tariffs are not a tax increase. They are actually a tax cut for the American people. Immediately, a Fox News reporter fired back, "Have you ever paid a tariff? Because they don't hit foreign countries. They hit American businesses and consumers." According to a report from the American Enterprise Institute, AEI, 98% of U.S. tariffs on China are actually paid by American businesses and consumers. Import prices have risen by 17% since Trump's latest tariffs were enacted. Core inflation in the U.S. has increased by 5.2% year over year, partly due to tariff-related costs. Unable to counter these facts, Leavitt hesitated and responded awkwardly, "I think you're insulting my economic knowledge." Even Fox News, long known for its unwavering support of Trump, was no longer buying his administration's economic rhetoric. After the market's sharp decline, some Fox News commentators began publicly criticizing Trump's economic policies. Fox's senior correspondent, Peter Doocy, remarked, "Even Trump's closest allies disagree with his tariff strategy. We're witnessing a market shock caused by the instability of his administration." Meanwhile, data from the Federal Reserve, Fed, revealed the likelihood of a U.S. recession in 2025 has risen to 65%, fueled by trade policy uncertainty. Unemployment has climbed to 4.6%, with many small businesses starting to cut jobs. Consumer confidence has dropped to its lowest level in 18 months, as Americans worry about their financial future. Investors continued selling off stocks, fearing a deepening economic crisis. But when pressed on these concerns, Trump dismissed them vaguely. "We're in a transition period. It will take some time." His unclear response failed to calm the markets and did little to restore his credibility among voters in the financial sector. Fox News, once one of Trump's strongest media allies, could no longer defend him. Europe strikes back. How Donald Trump and Elon Musk are shaking up the continent. Tesla lost 45% of its sales in Europe in just January 2025. Meanwhile, Donald Trump declared that Greenland is essential.
Well, I think it'll happen, and I'm just thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting with a man that could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security, not just security, international. We have a lot of our favorite players, cruising around the coast.
To the U.S., Europe responded fast, divesting from Tesla and taking a hard stance on territorial sovereignty. What's really going on? 1. Trump's push for Greenland, a power move or a costly gamble. On March 13, 2025, during a meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Donald Trump reaffirmed his ambition to take control of Greenland, calling it a national security priority. He stated, "We need it, and it will happen." But Trump's statement ignited instant backlash. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen immediately shut it down, declaring, "Greenland is not for sale. It is part of Denmark, and that's final."
And it's not for sale. The chairman, the leader of Greenland, has been very clear that they are not for sale.
The EU and NATO quickly backed Denmark, making it crystal clear. No part of the EU's territory is up for negotiation. Their firm stance sends a bold message. Europe won't let the US throw its weight around. But while the U.S. government focuses on Greenland, a major crisis is unfolding in an unexpected sector, Tesla. 2. Tesla's meltdown in Europe, a self-inflicted disaster. Big investors are dumping Tesla stock at the start of 2025, Two of Denmark's largest pension funds announced they were pulling out of Tesla completely and blacklisting the company. Why? Accusations of unfair labor practices, weak corporate governance, and Elon Musk's controversial political moves. Academiker Pension, one of Denmark's biggest pension funds, sold off all its Tesla shares and placed the company on its exclusion list. Pension Denmark, another major investor, dumped over 400 million krone, 58 million USD, in Tesla stock, citing ongoing labor disputes. Why Europe is turning its back on Tesla. Back in late 2023, Tesla refused to sign a labor agreement with Swedish workers, leading to massive strikes. But it didn't stop there. Unions across Denmark, Norway, and Finland joined in, blocking Tesla shipments and paralyzing operations. The impact? Tesla's Northern European operations came to a halt. Service centers in Sweden shut down. Major ports in Norway and Denmark refused to handle Tesla shipments. And just when Tesla thought it couldn't get worse, it did. 3. Tesla's sales collapse. Can it recover? According to the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, ACA, Tesla's sales in Europe plunged 45% in January 2025, while competitors surged ahead. By the end of 2024, Tesla's European sales had dropped 10.8%, 8 times worse than the overall market decline. Why? Tesla isn't just losing sales, it's losing trust. A UK survey found that 59% of EV buyers refused to buy a Tesla, not because of the car's performance, but because they didn't want to be associated with Elon Musk. In Germany and France, Tesla is losing ground fast. While Volkswagen, Renault, and Chinese EV brands are taking over, Musk's politics are backfiring on Tesla. Elon Musk has increasingly alienated European consumers, publicly backing Germany's far-right AfD party, criticizing the UK government, and aligning with Italy's nationalist Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. At the same time, he slammed EU environmental policies, calling them barriers to innovation. The fallout? 59% of UK customers now refuse to buy a Tesla because of Musk. Tesla's market share in Germany and France is shrinking fast, while Volkswagen, Renault, and Chinese EVs gain momentum. One EU official summed it up. Musk was once a green tech icon. Now he's an opponent of European values. What happens next? With Tesla struggling and Europe pushing back against Trump, the question is, can Tesla win back European customers? Will the US shift its strategy to prevent a bigger rift with the EU? Stay tuned. This story is far from over. The US economy faces major upheavals. How are new policies impacting the nation? 54% of US voters believe the economy is on the wrong track. Meanwhile, Wall Street just suffered its worst week in 2 years. At the same time, a wave of new tax policies and tougher immigration measures are causing a storm of controversy. What do these changes mean for everyday Americans and the broader economy? Economic uncertainty weighs on Americans. A recent survey reveals a striking paradox. Despite the president's high approval ratings, the economy remains the top concern. More than half of voters, 54%, are dissatisfied with how things are going. They hoped for lower prices, but instead the cost of living remains high. Inflation is still a worry, and homeownership is becoming a distant dream. The numbers tell a harsh story. Over the past year, food prices have risen 6.3%. Essentials like eggs, milk, and beef are up 8.5%, 7.2%, and 10.4%, respectively. Rent is skyrocketing, rising 12 to 18% in major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami. This isn't just theory. It's hitting hard in everyday life. And it's not just consumers feeling the heat. Financial markets are shaken. Last week, the Dow Jones plunged 4.2%. The S&P 500 dropped 3.8%, the biggest loss in 2 years. Tech giants like Apple, Tesla, and Microsoft saw their stocks nosedive. Experts warn, if these trends continue, job security could be next. Businesses may slash costs, leading to layoffs. But will new tax policies turn things around? or make matters worse? Let's dive in. Controversial tax policies. Boost or burden? The administration defends its tax strategy, arguing it's crucial for protecting U.S. manufacturing, but many Americans and businesses see it as a double-edged sword. According to the Treasury Department, since these new taxes took effect, raw material costs have spiked 15 to 25% across multiple industries. Auto, electronics, and steel companies are feeling the heaviest impact. 5,000 plus small businesses have filed for bankruptcy in just 6 months. Big corporations can offset costs by passing them on to consumers. Small businesses, not so lucky. And one industry facing a particularly rough road? Electric vehicles. Tesla and Rivian are forced to cut back production. Battery and component costs are climbing fast. This slows the transition to clean energy, hurting both the economy and the environment. For everyday consumers, the effect is blunt. Since the new taxes, retail prices have jumped 8%. The average U.S. household is now paying $1,500 to $2,000 more per year just to maintain their standard of living. So, is this tax policy really working? Or is it adding new hurdles to an already struggling economy? If that wasn't enough, another policy shift is causing an even bigger stir. Immigration. Immigration policies. Security or economic disaster. Border security has always been a divisive topic, but a recent decision has ignited intense debate. The administration is invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, a law over 200 years old, to deport undocumented immigrants, particularly those with alleged ties to Venezuelan gangs. The public is split. 55% of Americans support stricter border controls, but critics warn of massive economic fallout. Here's why. The U.S. agriculture, construction, and service industries rely on immigrant labor. According to the Labor Department, 20% of workers in these fields are undocumented. If they're deported, the U.S. faces a major workforce shortage. What happens next? Higher labor costs, more expensive products, businesses struggling to fill jobs. And the bigger picture? Economists predict these mass deportations could shrink U.S. GDP by 1 to 2% over 3 years. Government tax revenue takes a hit, increasing pressure on public spending. Some argue these measures will make the country safer. Others say they will overburden courts, businesses, and local economies. But one thing is clear, this policy will have widespread and long-lasting impacts. So, where does this leave the U.S. economy? Are we headed toward recovery or deeper trouble? Stay tuned. The next chapter of this story is just beginning.